Well, hi, everybody. I hope you're doing great today. The theme and title of our video for today is courage. Courage is found in a number of places. We can be courageous sometimes by doing very small things, and we can be courageous sometimes by doing very big things. Anytime we show courage, we're an example to others, and we're also an example to ourselves, building our own life story. Courage helps us to build self-confidence. Sometimes we have to draw on courage from our past to help us be courageous in our endeavors for our future. An example you might think of is a young child, a baby, who has learned by talking with their parents, conversation. And they've talked with those adults, and maybe they have a sibling or family members who they've talked to as well as they're coming up in life. And you might not think that's too courageous to talk with your family. But for a little baby, it is courageous to put themselves out there and to talk with their parents or their brothers or sisters because they come from a spot of not being able to talk and they learn how to talk. Now, what happens when they step inside a school for the first time and they meet a big teacher for the first time? A lot of children start out very shy and they have to show a little bit of courage to talk with that teacher. Now, how do they do that? They do that by drawing on the courage that they found to converse with their family, and then they apply that courage to learning to talk with their new teacher and then their new friends. And then they take that courage that it took the first day they ever came to school, and when they go to high school or even middle school, they draw on the fact that they've been courageous before and learned to meet new people and talk to new people. And when they're put in a new circumstance in middle school, high school, college, and life, they can draw on that previous courage to go out and meet new people and talk with new people. Well, courage comes in many, many forms, and maybe you can think of people who have been courageous examples for you. Today's video focuses on courage, and I hope you enjoy and learn from the people that you see inside this video. Thanks a lot for watching. As always, we have to get some movement in. Can't just sit there all day, so we are going to move by sitting there. Stay in your chair. Don't slide your chair around. Be sure you're staying seated in your desk while you're doing your exercises. Have a great time.
I'm going to do 4 punches when the timer starts and 4 directly punching up above. So let's get ready. Go 4 punches across, then 4 punches straight up. So you're doing this combination for a duration of 60 seconds. So nice control. So this workout today is really going to get your heart rate up. So I'm strengthening your heart. I'm increasing your health, your fitness. That's good. So punch it across. And also by taking the arms across, we're really working into your waist muscles. We're strengthening through your core. That's good. And then again, so it's alternating from 4 up to 4 across. And this workout's also really good, perhaps if you work in an office and you just want to get some more energy, if you want to keep healthy and fit, if you've got a long day sat doing a desk job as well. All right, so let's go through it. We've got last 10 seconds and I'm going to show you now. Keep going. You'll just see the next move. So the next one is, imagine you're rowing. We're doing 4 rows, and then we're doing 5 ladder runs. So it's 4 rows and then you're going to do 5 ladder runs. So we're going to go for, and this is move number 9. So we've got 10 moves in total. That's good. So let's just keep going. So this one here, we are still obviously really working your cardiovascular. So imagine you're rowing and then you're running up a ladder. That's good. And keeping that going. So again, you've got 40 seconds to go and reach it up. So what I'm trying to do is work your body through lots of different planes of motion. As we know, our body moves rotationally, it moves forwards and back backwards, and it also moves laterally. So I'm trying to engage as many different muscles as I can for you. And this is where, even being seated, we can still keep really healthy, fit and strong. All right, you're doing really well. You've got last 15 seconds. Then for those last 10 seconds, you will see the next move coming up. So just keep going. So this one, we're doing 2 reaches, and then you're just doing a push in front. So you reach from one side to the other, then give me 3 chest presses. So reach up and over, and then go 1, 2 and 3. We've just got 8 moves after this, so let's just keep going. So 3 pushes in front. So what I'm doing is, you're constantly working your arms, so you are going to feel amazing after this workout today, I promise you. But it is really challenging, and remember, the key thing is, it's important to challenge yourself, because that's when your body changes. But if anything feels too much and it's painful, then obviously just rest your arms and join back in again when you're ready. So let's just keep going. That's good. Reach that up and over. Push the arms in front for 3. And let's now do that side reach, working through the waist, and now working through the chest and through the upper back as you extend those arms forward. That's good. And you'll see for those last 10 seconds, you're going to see your new move coming up. So this one here, you're going to have your arms directly above your head, palms face in, and you're doing 4 knees up. Now, if you can't lift the legs, then all I want you to do is simply just do the arm movement that I'm doing on here. All right, so you're going to go 4 on each. And what's really important whilst you're doing this, keep your belly button pulled in tight to your spine. So by doing that, think where your belly button is. Think you just want to get it to try and touch the back of your spine. All right, so you're trying to pull it in. So we're engaging your core muscle known as your transverse abdominis. And also here, we're still working the arms. So we're working that heart rate as well, because it's having to work harder, because you're taking your arms above heart level. The muscle, the heart, is now pumping harder. All right, that's good. You're doing really well. So as I said, if you can't lift the legs, then literally just mimic the arm movement. So you're just going to pull your arms down with control. So you'll feel that through the front of the arms. Right, you can see the next move. This time now, we are going back to that first move that we started with. So we're going to go for 4 punches.
Great. That's a nice job. She does a good job leading us through some pretty challenging chair workouts. All right, so it's time for our athlete spotlight of the video. Today's athlete is somebody I bet you have not heard of, and if you have, you are in a very, very unique category as an astute sports historian. Our athlete of the day is one of my personal top 10 heroes, Louis Zamperini. Louis Zamperini was born in January of 1917, and he died on July 2nd, 2014. Zamperini was an American World War II veteran, but before that, he was an Olympic distance runner. He took up running when he was in high school and qualified for the 5,000 or 5K race in the 1936 Berlin Olympics, also known as Hitler's Olympics. He finished 8th place, which is a great finish. But the thing that set him apart in that Olympics was he set a new lap record on the final lap of the 5,000-meter race, beating the previous lap record by something like 10 seconds. Zamperini was foreshadowing in that race what his life would become just years later. In 1941, he was commissioned into the United States Army Air Force as a lieutenant. He served as a bombardier in the Pacific. On a search and rescue mission, Zamperini's plane experienced mechanical difficulty and crashed into the ocean. After drifting at sea on a lifeboat for 47 days with 2 other crewmates, Zamperini was captured by the Japanese. He was taken to 2 different prison camps in Japan, where he was tortured and beaten by Japanese military personnel, and specifically by a man named Mutsuhiro Watanabe. Watanabe wanted to beat on Zamperini because he was famous as an Olympic runner. He knew that that would have a big impact on the other Americans in the war camp. When Louis was a prisoner of war, since he was an American celebrity, the Japanese tried to convince him to speak positively about the Axis power propaganda. In other words, they wanted him to speak about America's enemies as being good people. They told him that he could have a warm place to live and food if he did this for them. Zamperini declined to do that. He was forced back into the prisoner of war camp. Later, he was taken to a new camp and at a coal factory where he continued to be tortured and forced to do hard labor. After a long struggle, he was finally released from prison in Japan. Following the war, he initially struggled to overcome his ordeal and had what's today called post-traumatic stress disorder. There have been many movies featuring Zamperini's story. Later on, Zamperini became a strong believer in forgiveness. From 1952 onward, he devoted himself to at-risk youth, a mission that his family continues today. Zamperini has been the subject of 3 films: a very popular film, Unbroken, in 2014, its sequel, Unbroken: The Path to Redemption, in 2018, and also Captured by Grace in 2015. Louis Zamperini is an American hero. With that in mind, it's time for us to draw a picture. Get out your piece of paper, your pencil, and see if you can follow along with this very interesting drawing. I've got my piece of paper out, and I'm ready to draw some funny little shapes. Here we go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this shape. It's kind of like an exaggerated 7 or a bird beak pointed down or something like that. Bird beak pointed up. Depends on if it's open or closed. Try drawing this shape on your paper. Good. Now, I'm going to draw this, like a little tabletop with that big 7 resting on top of it like that. Excellent. Now, underneath that 7 and below that tabletop there, we're going to draw a straight line going down. Perfect. Now, through that straight line going down, let's draw a couple of lines going through it like that. Say, Mr. Kinlaw, you are really drawing something strange this time. That looks great. Okay, our next line is going to continue down from that little straight line, and then it kind of makes a little J out toward the side, a little swoop out toward the side there. And then we're going to draw this big old line. So it goes parallel to the tabletop. You kind of go across your page, and then once you reach the edge of your drawing over there, you're going to go down and make a little J off the end of that line. Very good. We're not done yet. Now I'd like you to go up here and draw a little line going down beside what you've drawn so far. Then we're going to make sort of an E, but we're going to leave a little room at the top of that line. So we're going to draw a line just below the top of that line here. And then we're going to finish the E, draw a line there and a line there. Looks like an E with a little cap on top up there. Now, after you draw that little E there, we're going to make a backwards J off of it. right there. Beautiful. Say, what in the world have we drawn, Mr. Kinlaw? Well, I'll tell you. This is a Chinese character. Maybe you can think of what it stands for. Huh. Very good. Now, don't forget, save your paper. Don't lose it. You lose it in the next 15 minutes. That's disappointing. So hold on to it, and we'll see if we can take it back out in just a few minutes. All right. With that, it is time for the video of the week, not made by Fuller Morton Kinlaw Productions. The sound on this video is a little bit tough to hear, but it is an excellent video, and it tells you a lot about Louis Zamperini as well. The people in here are Tom Brokaw, who is he's a former broadcaster with NBC, and then we have Louis Zamperini and Angelina Jolie, who is an actress, but also a film director who made the movie around Louis Zamperini's life called Unbroken. All right, so enjoy the film here.
Is the real deal when it comes to international refugee crisis. She is today in Lebanon working on the Syrian crisis. When she comes back, she's going to dive into one of the greatest American stories of the 20th century, and this one is in her own backyard. This is one of those only in Hollywood stories.
Hello? Hi. Boo.
Oh.
Hey, Louie.
Oh, my God. I miss you.
Oh, I miss you.
honey.
I love you.
Legendary World War II hero Louis Zamperini and one of the most famous women in the world, Angelina Jolie, the hot new couple.
What a gal.
Oh, my. What a man.
He became famous almost 80 years ago, and then again when his phenomenal life story appeared in the big bestseller Unbroken. Now 97, a young Louis Zamperini first won prominence during Hitler's 1936 Berlin Olympics. I've been studying World War II for a long time, as you know. You're the only person I've ever met who met Hitler after you had that dramatic finish in the 1,500 meters. What did he say to you?
All he said was, the boy with the fast finish. That was it. And I couldn't really shake hands. He was up pretty high. So I just reached up and touched his hand.
But that was just one fleeting moment in a legendary American life. Unbroken, the film, will come to the big screen later this year. And Angelina Jolie is the director.
You train, you fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
Just watching the two of you, I'll bet this is not just a filmmaker's journey for you. I mean, this becomes really personal.
Very
because you've got the legacy of this amazing man in your hands and on the big screen.
Such a huge responsibility to get it right, because I love him so much and because he's helped me so much in my life.
During World War II, Louis' bomber was shot down in the Pacific. 47 days in a bear raft, subjected to barbaric war crimes in a Japanese POW camp. He was thought lost forever, declared dead. And now, decades later, he's here to see his life story brought to the screen by a Hollywood superstar. Did you find the book on your own, or did somebody send it to you?
I wanted to direct something again, but I just wasn't sure what, and it had to be something I would love and care about, because it takes much more time away from your family and much more effort than acting.
It might surprise you just how difficult it was, even for Angelina Jolie, to get a green light.
This has been the hardest thing I've ever done. I had all this, hours of phone calls and things, and then I made all these boards. I took my glue and tape and pictures off the internet and I put all my boards in a garbage bag, and I carried them to Universal myself and put them out, and I pitched my butt off. But just for when it is wide.
But do you want to send a message here as well?
For me, I think Louis has been very clear about what his message is, and certainly the book. And I think for my children and for everybody in the world, I want to be able to say, it can seem dark and it can seem hopeless and it can seem very overwhelming, but the resilience and the strength of the human spirit is an extraordinary thing.
When she finally got word she would direct the film Unbroken, she couldn't wait to meet Louis.
Where is he? Is he around? I think somebody said he knows where you live.
Indeed, he did. As we said, only in Hollywood. From Louie's patio, you can literally see across to Angelina's home. They were neighbors and never had a clue. Louie, this was meant to be because your girlfriend lives in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I can show you my roof from the window. I imagine that for the last 10-something years, he's been sitting there having a coffee in the morning and wondering, who's going to make this movie?
Right.
And I've been sitting in my room, laying there thinking, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? I want to do something important. I want to connect. I need some help. I need some guidance. Where is it? And it was right outside my window.
He's 97 years old. It's really remarkable. And when she gets back to Los Angeles, Angelina will resume work on Unbroken at Universal Studios, which, of course, are owned by our parent company, NBC Universal. And we will be following up with her in the coming months.
Now we're going to take a look at a section of that movie that you just heard about, directed by Angelina Jolie. The movie's called Unbroken. And this is a dramatization of Louis Zamperini's final lap. And in it, you'll see his family watching or listening to the broadcast on the radio of his race. Enjoy.
Come on, Louis.
And we start the last lap. The Finns seem to be in control. It doesn't look like Don Lash is going to bring home the medal for the USA. There seems to be some movement back in the pack. Yes, that's Zamperini overtaking Norway's Rolf Hansen.
Va tutto bene.
He seems to have some gas in reserve. He really is making up some time. Packard and Leighton will be 1 and 2, but look at that Zamperini. He's got Don Lash in his sights. Well, the great Don Lash is not going to be the first American, folks. It's high school kid Zamperini pushing past the record breakers on this field. I have not seen that. I have not seen that. That final lap, folks, the record for that was 69.2 seconds. Zamperini just did it in 56 seconds. That record's going to hold for a while, let me tell you.
All right, and it's time for us to add to our picture. So go ahead and pull your masterpiece out and take a look. Here's what we're going to add to it. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake in my slide, but that's okay. I'm going to draw it back on here. Sorry about that. There we go. All right, so we're going to add these words here. This symbol that we just drew is the Chinese symbol for courage. And you can kind of tell what they're getting at here in this symbol. If you take this area on the left side that we drew first, it kind of looks like a warrior, doesn't it? And it looks like that warrior is running. You can see their head on top is that big 7, and their arms are there, and they've got their legs with the J pointed backward. It looks like they're running into something, doesn't it? Looks like they're running into something there. Well, courage is the strength to face danger, fear, or difficulty. Sometimes we think about courage as just something that can hurt us, that we physically might feel pain from if we face it, but that's certainly not always the case. Courage can come from anywhere. It might be standing up to someone who has mistreated us. It might be overcoming a fear of spiders, right? It might be overcoming a fear of heights. It might be protecting a friend or a loved one. It might be coming to school and hammering away in math class, just doing your best, even when it seems really, really hard. That is courage. All of those things are courage because it's when life hands us things that are really tough and we step to them rather than step away from them. That's courage. Well, fantastic. Kids, it's time for our dad joke of the video, that time that I'm sure you've all been waiting for. Here's the dad joke today. This one came to me through the networks. People asked me, Mr. Kinlaw, when does a joke become a dad joke? Well, I had to think about that one for a while. I came up with an answer. When it becomes apparent. Yeah, still got it. Enjoy your mindfulness moment. Have a great day. Here you go.
Sitting comfortably, allow distractions to pass by. Let problems and concerns drift away as you choose to become still. Now, visualize yourself in a meadow, surrounded by dandelions. You can smell the richness of the earth and the freshness of the grass. Breathing deeply. You begin to feel a new vitality flowing through your body. You feel light, full of life and energy. Drawn towards the dandelions, you sense their softness. You watch the seeds being carried on a breeze as they float away. Caught by the wind gently blowing them along. You begin to see life as movement, always in the midst of changes and challenges. You anchor into that which is unchanging and constant. Connecting with your courage and resilience. You relax into facing change with a clear mind and emotions calm. You see what's important. You open to new experiences, opportunities, and creativity. Easy, free and present.